Top 5 storylines for the weekend. Number 5, is Oklahoma State any healthier? Because if not, I mean, we don't really know what's going on with them and, who's going to play and where and when. And, it's not just Spencer Sanders. That's the biggest cog in the machine, but it's just everywhere. The rash of injuries that they have suffered is taking a team that was supposed to contend for the Big 12 title and turn them into we don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the year. So I wonder, are they any healthier this week? If not, Iowa State could inch closer to bowl eligibility, even on the road in Stillwater, which is something they haven't been able to do. And that offense has been pretty bad until the fourth quarter last week. But even still, if Oklahoma State isn't healthy, Iowa State's chances just skyrocket in this game.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of injuries, and like you said, Oklahoma State's pretty banged up right now. So, I don't trust Iowa State's offense at all. That's their biggest bugaboo by far. Their defense is great, but are they? I don't know. I mean, none of us know. Mike Gundy's keeping all that close to the chest. You listen to his press conferences, and he's not revealing anything about anybody, much less Spencer Sanders. So anybody's guess is as good as it's going to get until we see them actually take the field.
But my guess is if they were healthy, he'd say yes.
Probably.
Because it doesn't benefit you at all to be like, oh, no, and then, oh, look, he's there. Well, if he's healthy, they're going to prepare for him anyway. I mean,
His last game that he was the Texas game, Sanders? Did he gut that out?
Yeah, he gutted the Texas game out, yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I mean, this conference, think about the starting quarterbacks who have been hurt.
Yeah.
Some of them, like the backup quarterbacks, have been hurt.
Yep. Number 4, this one's for you, Garrett. Does LSU stay focused?
Absolutely.
They're a much better team than Arkansas right now, especially. But all their dreams came through on last Saturday night. And Arkansas, this is it's a rivalry game in so many ways. It's not LSU's number one rival, but it might be Arkansas's. And so I don't know if that's them or A&M, but it's up there for Arkansas. So I'm sure Arkansas would love to, come up and play. And the only reason I even would bring this up is Arkansas's got KJ Jefferson, who's a quarterback who's good enough to make things happen in those crunch moments. So if LSU kind of thinks that they're big and bad because they beat Alabama this week, Arkansas is the kind of team that can jump up and surprise you. But I'm pretty sure that Brian Kelly will have them focused. It's just that's my only question about that game at all.
I mean, if it's me, I think that they're going to come in with a sound mindset. I think Brian Kelly made it clear if you listen to him after the game that this is one of those situations where it's a 24-hour window here and get on to the next beat. But I'm not worried about KJ Jefferson. I think LSU is the better roster. They're the better team. And I think that right now they see that the SEC championship is really theirs to muck up and not get there. So I think they have their eyes on getting there, and I'm not worried about this weekend.
Notice how Garrett's become confident as LSU starts
his
to
whole
win.
life. His whole life. Listen, yeah. I bet you things are better at home. Yeah,
it is. Everything turned. It took a turn.
Kids are giving him less crap and all these things. Yeah, I think so. Number 3, can Scott Satterfield continue his rise from the dead? Because he was absolutely out the door after that Boston College loss. There was no way most people thought he's coming back. They've rattled off 4 straight wins since then. Now, look, they've got the toughest part of their schedule back-to-back coming up, starting with Clemson this week, who just came off a very, very, very embarrassing loss. So maybe you don't want to be Louisville, or maybe you do. But he was, chief on the I'm going to get fired, probably going to get fired, hot seat, whatever you want to say list. And now he's kind of rolling along here.
Yeah, and it's just, what are they, 6-3?
Yeah, they're 6-3.
You had him, where was he behind Scott Frost in the hot meter?
He was number 2 or 3 almost the whole time. Yeah. I mean, mostly because the fans had completely turned on him, but now they're winning. A friend of mine that I've made through the show, Chad Haynes, messages me all the time. Chad's he should have a Louisville museum with all the memorabilia he has. But he texted me, he's like, big win for Louisville last week. He said, yeah, you guys might be stuck with that coach you don't like for a little bit longer. Because what are you going to say if he, say he finishes the season 8-4? Can't let him go. He'd have huge wins in that as well, finishing 8-4. But they have 3 tough games ahead of them, starting with Clemson this week. But it would be amazing if he if he somehow came back from that.
Yeah, it's really impressive what they've been able to do. It's more of what was expected, but I don't know kind of what the gauge is there. You'd have a better insight on it based on your friend that you're talking about and all of that. But yeah, it's a lot different than it was several weeks back. I mean, they've been on a winning streak for an entire month now, so this is as cool as it's probably been in quite some time, and good for Satterfield and good for the Cardinals. And as you mentioned, a big stretch upcoming that if they go 2-1 or 3-0, I mean, gosh, we'll go from whatever that hot seat actually was to lifting them up on people's shoulders probably, because that'd be quite a turnaround. So yeah, great job by them, and they're bowl eligible, so he's not going anywhere even if they were to go 0-3. I wouldn't think, because again they're going to the postseason. So great job by him.
Clemson, North Carolina State, Kentucky, their last three.
Yeah, I think it probably depends on the style of that 0-3. If they get blown out, then maybe.
True.
But yeah, if he goes 1-2 and they're 7-5, this is a team that lost to Boston College, who is moribund right now.
They lost to Syracuse badly to open up. Syracuse obviously better than anyone thought. Florida State beat them in a close one.
Yeah,
the Noles have done that.
Yeah, so that's how they win, unless they're playing Miami or Boston College. But I think it would be remarkable if he managed to come back out of that. Number 2, will Lane beat Saban? There's a very elite fraternity of former Saban assistants who've beaten him. It's 2 guys.
Kirby and Jimbo.
That's it. So he could be the third one who does it, but we all picked Alabama for a reason. Alabama's a pretty stout favorite in this game. And maybe not this year, but you never know. I mean, the tide might be reeling, but I've never seen a Nick Saban team reel.
They're just missing something, man. It might be just maybe brains, football IQ, talent in certain places, even though they have all the 5 stars.
Yeah, if they were in the Wizard of Oz,
what do you think they're missing, Craig?
They'd be the Scarecrow.
Besides more wins.
I don't know exactly. I think that they're missing. Well, I guess they're missing an actual offense that is good. They're missing the schemes that they got from guys like Steve Sarkisian previously versus Bill O'Brien. I think that it's the Bill O'Brien factor more than probably anything else. I also think that maybe some of the skill talent isn't quite as sharp as it has been in years past, but they're not very diverse. They're not somebody that I think strikes a lot of fear outside of just their base talent in opposing coaches when breaking them down. So I think that's it as much as anything. I think their offense is pretty mundane. That's my opinion, though.
I agree. Gibbs gave him something, but the wide receivers have never really – no one's just taken up that next step, and Bryce Young is running for his life every time he takes a snap.
Yeah, and number 1, can TCU stay in the CFP? Only one way to do it, and that's beat Texas. This is the most intriguing and the most difficult game to wrap my head around of the week when it comes to how it's going to go, based on the 2 teams seem to be kind of opposite in the way that they play games. But yeah, this is the one, like TCU right here. They have it in front of them. Just like every other team in the Big 12 went out and you're in, TCU has went out and, add the Big 12 title game, went out all the way, and you are in the CFP, which is a program-changing season. That's what they are looking at right now at TCU.
I mean, I get why we look ahead to the CFP, but they've never won an outright Big 12 title.
No, exactly.
So they need to do that first. They shared it with Baylor in a year that Baylor beat them, which I think is just silly, but I understand how that all works and whatnot. But, I mean – we know the answer to the question. The answer is yes, as long as they just keep winning. We know that the moment they lose a game, if they lose a game, they're done and have no chance. That's just the reality of it. And so, yeah, they can. But, it's going to be a lot easier if they can get past this test this weekend. And even still, it's I think going to be a Baylor team that's going to be – potentially, if they win again this weekend, just chock full of confidence. But who knows? Maybe K-State walks into Waco and pulls the upset, and Baylor's a little dinged after that. But Baylor-TCU's really got the makings of being a monster game for both programs next week if both can handle their business. But that's going to, I don't have full faith that either one of those results is going to happen tomorrow. I think both those games are pretty daggum close coin flip type of games, so I can't wait to see how those shake out.
I know that we've talked – go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, Craig. I gotta do that one other thing first. But this is going to be a question week to week, for them and their fans, because you can taste it right now, but there's still 4 games that they have to win to do it.
When you start to try to taste what's at the end of the buffet before you get your table, your plate, whatever, and your fork and knife, you're not going to get there. They have been it's been a